When the opportunity is presented to you, you have to be willing to receive. And what are you going to do with that information when you receive it?
Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. We are going to dive into acting insights, meet industry pros, and master the business. Don't forget to subscribe and share. We're keeping you behind the scenes and ahead of the game. As you know, this episode is brought to you by Get Scene Studios, and we want to invite you to one of our challenges that we love to start the new year with. It is called the Booked It Challenge. It's only $28. It starts on February 5th. It's 4 weeks, everyone, and each week we go over specific strategy to help you get more auditions. Then we give you specific tactics to implement into your auditions to help your auditions stand out in a big way. And then we also bring in a casting director to look over auditions so we can learn from those industry pros. So everyone, this is an incredible challenge to help you grow in a big way and also really give you momentum to have the best acting year of your journey. So we can't wait to help you do that. You can also save $5 by using the promo code unscripted. So everyone, it's already $28. Make it even cheaper and more affordable than that. So be sure to sign up, everyone, for our Booked It Challenge starting on February 5th. Now enjoy the show. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Get Scene Unscripted. I just want to quickly say, everyone, if you are commenting and leaving us reviews, thank you so much. I really enjoy seeing them, reading them, and really being able to just see that you guys are getting a lot of value out of these episodes. And so if you haven't already, please do so. I would love to hear from you. And it also just really helps the podcast. So help us continue to grow. Leave us a review. Let us know that you are loving it, and make sure to subscribe. And if this episode is really powerful for you, make sure to share it with a friend. And so with that, everyone, we have our next guest here today. It is another owner of a talent agency right here in Atlanta, Georgia. It is Carol Shaginaw from Carol Shaginaw Talent Agency. What's up, Carol? How are you?
Thank you for having me. It's so awesome to be here.
Awesome. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you. And I'm so excited to chat with you. And, you know, the first thing I kind of want to just bring up, I like to just dive right in, is, you know, your journey to being a talent agent is not very traditional. I feel like you were in, I think, like finance, you did all sorts of other things, and then you found your way into the entertainment industry. And I want to like kind of focus on the bravery aspect of that. And I know we kind of talked before we started, and you were like, man, I didn't even like think about some of these things within my own life, but it really took, I think, a lot of bravery to do that. And so how did that kind of come up for you, and how'd you find your way in?
I don't see the bravery because I just did it.
Yeah.
So to me, it just seemed like a change in life of where we were and where I was headed. But when you brought it to my attention, I'm like, okay, that was brave of me to do.
Yeah, definitely.
So it just all kind of created itself from where I was in my life, in my personal life, with my husband and my daughters. And I just made the decision that this was the time. The timing was right. We were in a place that I felt like I could do it for me personally. And so I just took on that challenge. I just went for it. I just went after it and didn't look back.
Yeah.
So maybe, what is it? Blindness is bliss, or ignorance is bliss. I mean, that's kind of just, I just went after it. I just went after it. But I will say, we had experience in owning our own business before. We had a mortgage brokerage company for many years. So being a business owner was not something new. So I think with that experience, it led me down the road to be able to do it with that confidence and that bravery that this is just something that we do.
Yes.
And the timing was right.
What I love about that is that it's like this is something that was kind of similar. And the only thing that's similar is like owned a business. And so I once didn't own a business and then I did. Yeah. And so that means I can do this other thing over here. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of love that comparison and that connection. And if you're wanting to try something new, something that's completely maybe outside of your comfort zone, you only need to connect one thing that you've done in the past to like all of a sudden make it possible for you.
Right. And believe in yourself. Just know that anything is possible. You can do this. You don't know any differently. Go for it and make it happen. So, yeah, I mean, it just having that experience, but just having that mindset, having that confidence, and just going after it.
Yeah.
Just making it happen. Yeah.
Was there always a part of you that wanted to be in the entertainment industry at all, or it kind of revealed it to you as you had kids, or?
Yeah, never.
Never?
Never. So growing up as a child, I was always involved in athletics. Fantastic softball player, pretty good basketball player, and a cheerleader, but never in the performing arts. And then I got into the world of sales. But when I look back at it, sales is a form of acting. So I had that skill set going for me. But no, I never considered it until we had our children. And all we ever heard was, oh my gosh, these little girls are so charming. They're so gorgeous. They have this personality. They have the it factor. They should be in front of the camera. They should be on stage and all that fun things that you like to hear as a parent.
Right.
But when you hear it enough, I'm like, okay, they love performing, just for family and doing cute little things. Maybe I should give them that opportunity. So let me explore this. What do you do? Was my thing. I don't know. How do you do this? And so I'm a big researcher. If I want to know something, I'm going to research. I'm going to find out. I'm going to ask people, consultants, whatever it takes. And acting classes. You need to get them into acting classes. And I thought, okay, I can do that. Let me find an acting class. How do you do that? So I found an acting studio that was around the corner from us, very close, 15 minutes away. And they also had an opening for an office manager. And I thought, I'm a stay-at-home mom, had been in the corporate world for a very long time, and then became a stay-at-home mom. And I thought, this could be good. This could be something we could do together.
Yeah.
I can work some, have that fulfillment for me, fulfill what they're doing.
Extra cash.
Yeah, it all just kind of fell into place. And so that's how it all happened. They started taking acting classes, doing very, very well. They then were signed with agents. And I, as a new person to the performing arts, again, I needed to find out what was going on. What do you mean this audition that's due in 24 hours? They have school. What do I do? Mm-hmm. And so I relied heavily on the studio owner. She taught me a world of information. And then just reading, researching, studying the industry, talking to people who became mentors and wanted to pass along that information, who had been in the industry longer. And so that's how I learned. I learned the business from knowing nothing to now being an agency owner.
I know. So crazy. I love it.
I know. 15 years. I've been in the industry for 15 years wearing different hats. And I got to say, I never would have guessed in my previous life that this, if you were to say way back when we were hustling and selling mortgages and living that life, this is your path, I would have looked like, who?
Yeah. You're like, no way.
That wasn't for me.
Yeah, you've mistaken me with someone else.
Yeah, I got crossed, but no, it worked out. And I love it. I love what I do.
You know what's so cool about that story is that I think we do that to ourselves often. You're mistaking me with someone else. When you look at, like, I feel like greatness, someone that's right, you're like, oh, no, that's not me. But it is. And it can be. You just have to like step into it and accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You have to do that. Say yes.
Yeah.
You have to want it. When the opportunity is presented to you, you have to be willing to receive. And what are you going to do with that information when you receive it? How are you going to receive it? So I accepted. I received all of this information.
Hell yeah.
And I'm glad I did. I'm so glad I did. But it definitely, going from the mortgage business to a stay-at-home mom was just a challenge in itself, because we did not get married and have children until later. So first part of my adult life was focused on me.
Right.
Very much about me. Then I met my husband. Life changed. And then we had one daughter. And then 19 months later, we had another daughter. And I thought, okay, this is my new job. I'm going to stay at home with these little people and keep them alive. And just, we had so much fun during that time. But then as they grew, and like I said, their whole personalities and that all just changed me. It really taught me a lot about giving, giving yourself to others. And you have these beautiful children, and you just want to pour everything that you can into them and give them every opportunity. And it just morphed into this world. And they grew out of the industry.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they grew out. Grew out of the industry.
They brought you in, and then they were like, "Nah,"
and then we're out of here.
So funny.
Yeah, my oldest daughter at one point, she had.
No, I'm so thrown off by this.
I know, right?
Now you could be like helping run their careers, and they're like, nah.
No careers to be run by them.
Does that bum you out, or is it nice?
Okay. Sometimes I watch our youngest daughter. So she was involved in musical theater through her high school years. And I would watch her perform. And I'm like, wow. Are you sure you don't want to do this? And she said, no, I'm just doing this because I love it right now. But I have no desire to take this any further. And I thought, wow. Okay. But then our oldest, she got out of the industry when she was in middle school. She decided she wanted to be a competitive swimmer. And she said that her auditions seemed too much like work.
Okay.
And I said, well, it is.
Yeah.
It is work. And she had a really nice audition. And we printed out the sides, and I'm letting her read. And she's, I don't want to do this. And I said, we need to call your agent.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, this is not good.
But you know what? Good on them to be like, I don't want to do it and not feeling pressured. And then also good on you for not being like, no, you got to stick with it. You got to do this.
Yeah. And that is one thing that I'm super sensitive about with parents of child actors.
Yeah.
Who really wants this?
Yeah.
Who is in this because their heart's in it? And based off of that experience with her, and that was a hard conversation. The agent had worked so hard. Got this great audition. But then my younger one at that time, so she picks up the sides and she says, oh, I'll do it, Mommy. I'll do it. And I said, okay, let's talk about selection, rejection. Your sister was selected. they wanted your sister.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, well, I'll still study the lines. I said, okay, you go ahead. You go ahead and do that without any opportunity for her to audition. But so we knew right then my daughter was going to become a swimmer. And she, as I had said before, she said it seemed too much like work. And I'm thinking, swimming is so much like work.
Yeah.
That is hard work. Excuse me. So,
but I mean, that's the thing, is finding something that you're doing and it doesn't feel like work. And that's.
And you love it.
Yes.
You absolutely love it. So, but one thing I did see with her in taking her acting classes and moving forward as much as she did, the level of confidence and creativity and the expression, because she was more of an introverted child, whereas our younger is not. And it allowed her to really become very comfortable with who she was. She's not going to walk in a room and just start up the party and the conversation like the little one would. And I just saw that change in her. And I experienced at a teacher's conference that I guess she was in like the second grade or third grade. And they said, oh my gosh, her writing has escalated. Like she's really into writing. And so in this teacher conference, we were having the conversation of really, what do you feel is happening while you're writing? And she said, oh, I just play my improv games in my head. And so
cool.
she started taking her improv classes and mixing them in with her schoolwork. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know that would happen. So, and then my younger one, she moved on to musical theater in high school. And when I became an agent, she was still signed with someone else, and we wanted to leave her there. That was just the rules of the game. She could stay there, and then she made that phone call to her agent and said, I've decided to just really focus on musical theater. I appreciate all the work that you've done for me. And that was kind of the end of those two. And then meanwhile, I'm building this world over here of creating an agency, and they moved out of the industry, and you
kept it going
on into the industry. Yeah.
You said earlier that when you were working and then you went to stay-at-home mom, and that was really hard. Mm-hmm. What was so hard about it?
Just the transition of it, of leaving a world that you were so comfortable in. I was comfortable working and taking care of others for a business, the mortgage industry, helping people achieve their maybe first-time home buyers or people who are refinancing into a better situation. So having that responsibility into this new world of taking care of these small children and spending all your time with them and teaching them and helping them grow into these wonderful little humans without that experience. There's no experience of becoming a parent until you are a parent.
Yeah.
And you're kind of tossed in by, trial and error. Go make it work. So that was the hardest part, is just knowing who I was and where I had been for so many years. And then all of a sudden, I'm responsible. My husband and I have these small children, and I'm staying home with them all day, making sure they have everything that they need, and the love and the care and the just providing for them. That was a hard transition. And when the opportunity came along to do something together that I felt like I was contributing to the household outside of the non-paying stay-at-home mom role, it fueled me. You know, not that my children did not fuel me, because that was a, you know, an amazing experience. But when you have that drive of a business mindset, it was a shift. It was a pretty big shift. But I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, because, gosh, I learned so much from my kids that I would not have ever known about myself, such as now being an agency owner.
I know,
that would have
right?
never happened without their, you know, very different little personalities and their love and passion for something, that I jumped on board with them and said, let's go do this together. And so we had a lot of good years there, a lot of fun.
I bet. And so with kind of we'll say your past life, if you will, with, you know, more in finance, if you will, how did those years actually help prepare you in being an agent? Where are those parallels?
Yeah. Having the mindset and the drive to get the job done. And so in the mortgage industry back then, I don't know what it's like now, but most of us were paid a commission. So we were basically, you just earned whatever you generated. So there was no salary. So you're kind of a self-employed type person, because that's how you're earning your income, except for you don't have the overhead that the business actually would have. And so taking all of that hustle and that hard work and knowing and making yourself available to people in a very giving and helpful way transitions over to the agency world, because I feel like that's what we're doing every day, is making sure we're taking care of actors, making sure we're providing them with the opportunities that are out there, and creating another dream to come true of people wanting to move forward in our industry. So there's a lot of similarities there, but in two different ballparks. You know, you have one that's in the financial home buying world, and then the other that's in the creative and entertainment industry, that they don't usually cross paths like that.
Right.
And so I find it so interesting when I meet actors who maybe they got a degree and started working in engineering or the medical field, and they said, but I always had this longing to be this actor, and now I'm going to do it. And I'm like, I kind of understand you. I relate to the transition of where you've been and where you are. Two different, totally different worlds.
Yeah, I feel like I hear that story so often from an older actor. I'll say someone who has retired, and they're like, well, I'm not doing anything else, and I always wanted to do this. But obviously their first thought is like, but obviously it's too late and I probably can't do it. And it's like, no, that's awesome. Like, totally do it.
It's never too late.
Yes.
It's never too late. You can do this. I have one actor, he is a retired Secret Service agent.
Oh, cool.
How about that?
Yeah. I mean, and for certain, and that's the thing, right? That's what actors coming into this don't realize. Like, that guy, when those types of roles, like, literally he's going to beat everyone every time. He's going to win.
He lived it.
Yeah.
That was him.
Like, no one is going to be able to do it better than him.
Yeah.
So you were the studio manager of the acting school. Then you were working as an agent, but then you pretty much took over the agency. So there's been a bit of a path there and a bit of different changes happening, different goals kind of coming into place. What are some of the next goals for you and where you're going with agency?
Yeah,
or yourself, I guess, maybe more specifically. Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of a whirlwind. How after 2 years of working with an agency or for an agency, but I opened their Atlanta office, and that in itself was as if I were on my own, because I did quite a bit, a lot. And then the opportunity came for me just to open up my own agency. And of course, I'm like, absolutely, but there was some like, oh, okay, is this really what I want? Well, I've been doing it, and I'm like, stop thinking about it. Let's do it. Just go for it. And just the growth that I've seen, the the challenges that were presented. So first round, there was COVID. No work to really have.
Yeah.
Until that September. And so during that time, at first I'm thinking, okay, what did I just do?
Yeah.
What did I just do?
Maybe the signs are telling me something else.
But I'm going to keep doing it.
Yes.
Because I know this is right. So I just, kept working towards it. But so what led into goals was overcoming these obstacles, in our current climate, with the strike going on. It's like, let's keep going. Let's do what we know with what we have and do it well. And so that's kind of my next, my goals for, days after with my agency is just keep doing what I know, how I know to do it, and do it well. And the success should continue. If you find a way to do something, keep doing it well. Don't try to fix what isn't broken. And I feel like I'm pretty comfortable in that situation. Yeah.
Yeah, you said something with, you started the agency, then COVID hit. Mm-hmm. And I joked like, oh, the signs are saying, stop. But you said, but I know it's right, so I'm going to keep doing it. And it just kind of like made me think of this idea of like, if you know that it's right and we always will have obstacles, right? And that we're like focused on, but when I overcome this, it's going to be incredible. When I overcome this, I'm going to feel achievement. When I overcome this, I'm going to feel more confident. And you rarely think about, yay, I did it. You always think about the journey getting there, right? And so it's just an idea of like embracing that a little bit more. How am I going to be able to do this? How am I going to think differently? How am I going to approach this differently? How is this going to help my determination, my perseverance, my tenacity, right? And so I feel like that is essentially like what you did.
Unknowingly.
Yeah.
You just...
But like, how can we know it, right? How can we bring awareness to that?
Right. You just have to go off of your drive as a person and your instincts and your will. Your will. When you feel it and you make it happen. And you do. Of course, there were obstacles and there are learning curves and things that you have to grow through. But the will to keep doing it, that is what's the most important.
Yeah.
Just don't stop. Don't stop. Don't let certain obstacles detour you.
I feel like you have a really good relationship with your talent. Mm-hmm. You're really close with them. And I wonder if that comes with because you had your girls in the industry maybe, but can you kind of talk about your relationship with your talent and that closeness that you have with them and that you welcome even more so?
And I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have some of my agency friends and colleagues that just kind of look at me and go, why do you do that like that? Especially when we're speaking on industry panels and one will say something and then I gotta say kind of my spiel. But I think it does have a lot to do with because I do have my daughters and they were in the industry and I can totally understand where actors come from with the emotional challenges.
Yeah.
And feel it for them. Because I've been there. And when I worked at the studio, I was the point person. People would come in and kind of just share.
Oh yeah, I
just
bet.
share what was, whether it was good, whether it was bad, whether it was indifferent. They would just come in and just share with me. And so I have a, just a soft spot for that. But sometimes people need also that reinforcement to say, pull up your boots, let's get to work.
Yeah.
I can hear what you're saying, listen, take that in, and then tell them let's get busy, okay? Feelings are valid, okay? Feelings, maybe they're not so valid, but being very honest with people, being honest with them to tell them it's okay, emotions, it's okay, but also there's a business to be had. There's work to be done. So, but some people don't want that. Some actors are like, you are a little too engaged with me.
Right.
And we have to decide, how are we going to navigate this relationship? Maybe we're not the right fit like we thought that we were. Or I can not be so connected with you in so many different ways and back off a little bit. So it's a fine balance, but I don't know any other way to do it. I don't know any other way except for to make it a partnership, to be there for your actors, to take care of one another. I don't have a job without my actors.
Yeah.
I don't feel like either of us work for the other. I feel like we're partners in this. So, it's just kind of how everything evolved, too, with moving through the industry, learning, studying, researching, gathering all of this information, and then hearing it one too many times from my agency friends and casting directors and a producer, very close producer friend that said, you would make a great talent agent. You really ought to consider this. And I thought, no, I'm not ready. Life isn't as it should be. Time went on. And then it presented itself. And I said, I've heard it a lot.
It's time.
I need to embrace, I need to receive this information.
Yeah.
And act on it. And so I just feel like I take that over with my actors too. When you have these opportunities, embrace them. Receive this invitation, regardless if you think, maybe I'm just not right for this role. Then bring yourself. We just want to see you. We don't want to see you acting. We want to see you under a set of circumstances with provided words, and bring yourself.
And you know what I like to tell actors that, like, I'm not even right for this. It's like, you didn't get the audition by accident. Right. They're not giving any pity auditions out. Like, oh, I feel bad for Jesse today. Let's give him an audition so he feels good. Like, that's not what's happening. You got selected for a reason. Your agent thought you were right for it. Then casting thought you were right for it. So, like, be excited about that. We so often just sabotage ourselves, right? The first thing we think, instead of, I'm going to book this, is, I'm not even right for this. Why did I get it? Like, what? Yeah. And it's understanding, everyone, that you get to make the choice. You can choose to say, I'm going to book this shit, or I'm not even right for this. I'm not going to get it. Yeah. You can say either one of those sentences. Choose which one you want to say.
And for me, I would say choose, let's do this.
Yes, exactly.
And again, like I said, I don't know any difference in my mindset. Go for it. Do it. Create magic. Make it happen. See where it takes you. And that's kind of been my journey through this.
Yeah, you talked about actors, I'll say, like, being emotional, but it's just going through the emotions of this industry. I don't mean it in a negative at all.
No.
And I love what you said about, okay, have the feelings, but now there's work to be done.
Right.
And I love that so much because it's always like, let's focus on action. Let's focus on taking action. And I feel like it doesn't matter what emotional state you're in. If you take action, you will change that emotional state into something that will feel better.
Right.
If you focus on taking action in some way, you will move forward in some way.
Right.
And if you're stuck in your emotions, you're exactly that. You are stuck and you're not moving anywhere.
And allow yourself, first of all, to feel those emotions, own them, feel them. But then it's time to move forward. It's time to do work and learn from wherever from whatever you just experienced, whatever those emotions were, what created it, what held you to that emotion, and then what can you do to move forward from that emotion, whether it's good or bad. You know, sometimes there are these great emotional wins, and when all of the hype and the energy, when it's over, and then if everything becomes calm again. It's like play off of that. Enjoy that ride, because that's part of you. You know, we're all who are in this industry, we're all building those blocks every day. Agents, actors, casting, crew. No one is set for eternity on where they are in this whole project that you're working on. It's going to end, and then you're going to have to move on to the next one. So everyone is taking those steps. It's what you take with you. Take the good, learn from the bad, and make it happen. Create that magic, make it happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love all that.
Thanks.
So with the actors on your roster, is there a particular story that comes to mind that you just absolutely love? Like whether it be somebody that maybe was in that tough emotional state, took that action, and then something great happened from it, or whether it's just a big booking or a first booking. Is there like a really cool, fun story that's like one of your favorites?
Gosh, I feel like there's so many. But I will say, yeah, one that stands out, a developmental actor, new, but working hard, had been training for years, and then thought maybe it's time that I get an agent. And of course, when I met this person, I thought, where have you been? Well, I've just been training for 2 or 3 years now, and they came referred to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, let's get you out there. And so, it's a new face. You're taking risk. You're putting someone out there. You're submitting. You're pitching. And to have a casting director say, sure, I'll give them a look. And then the casting director calls me back after watching their audition and says, where has this person been? And I said, I know, right? And they booked it. And that moment of making that call and saying, you did it. All of your hard work has paid off. You booked it. And it was pretty special because this person held back for so long for themselves. And I get it. Sometimes people think they want an agent or need an agent immediately after just, I've had a few acting classes. I know I need to focus on getting an agent. And that's, in my opinion, that's not where your focus needs to be at that moment. But I feel like this person kind of held out for so long because they had that evil self-doubt just creeping up on them. And it was just, it was pretty magical that my words were, where have you been? And then for casting to call me and say, where has this person been? And so that was pretty special.
Yeah.
That one kind of stands out because there was a lot of unique dynamics going on.
And I think something so powerful in that story is the limitations that we put on ourselves that happens so often. Running Get Seen, I've met so many actors, same thing. I'm like, man, you're doing really great. Like, who's your agent? And they're like, oh, no, I don't have an agent yet. I'm like, okay, well, what have you been doing? Because I feel like we really kind of specialize in helping people get agents. And so, we always go, well, let's get to it. Oh, no, I don't know if I should do that yet. I'm not ready. And it's just negative self-talk. Or one person at one other studio somewhere else was like, you got to wait. Yeah. And, I'm just always like, no, go after what you want. Right. Go after what you want, period. You're going to let one person say this one thing and hold you back, or just because some agencies haven't responded to you, you're going to let that hold you back? No, if you want something, you go after it. You take action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, just because someone says no, it's not a forever no. That no is another door. It's another opening to whatever the next may be. So what I was saying before, when people submit to the agency and, they're really, really green, and I just tell them, keep training. Just because we're not ready right now, I'm not ready for you. Someone else may be. I could be giving up something very wonderful here, but keep doing the work. Just because someone says no doesn't mean that it's a forever no. Take that no and think of it as it's another yes somewhere.
Yeah,
let's act on it.
It's part of the obstacles within the journey that you end up looking back on and then appreciating everything so much more. Like if we can just look at things in a way where we're like, thank goodness for this obstacle. Thank goodness for this hardship. Thank goodness for really just like welcome it. Yeah. Our lives would be entirely different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And embracing it. And embracing it every step of the way. Just opening your eyes and just seeing what's out there that you can't see what's in front of you. Kind of, what is it? The forest for the trees. Can't see the forest for the trees, or whatever that old saying is.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Hey, if you're an actor and you're enjoying this episode, we want to serve your acting journey in a bigger way. So we want to let you know that we offer a free class every single month. We do it on a lot of different things, but most importantly, we make sure that it is so value-packed that you have no idea how it's actually for free. But it's our gift to you to know that we are so passionate to help actors on their journey, and more specifically, help you on your journey. So you'll find a link in the description. All you got to do is put in your email and we will send you our next upcoming free class so you can get so much value. So do not miss out on that. Again, you'll find the link in the description. Enjoy the rest of the episode. So you've gone through these transitions now, and so with your kids, how are you balancing, I would say, now, right? Because it was like you went from corporate to then stay at home, and then you were able to join your kids into this, then they left. So now You're just doing it. So now how are you kind of balancing all that? Or it's like, oh, they're old enough, so they're kind of like doing their own thing, and now I'm doing my thing. And, how do you focus on balance within your life?
I do not know how anyone does this business with small children.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be a whole other set of challenges in itself. They were at the right age that I felt like I could give more time. They didn't need me as much. They're growing into these young women, and we raised them to be very independent but responsible young adults. And so now the balance is, this is almost like a third child.
A third child that's actually like 100. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But it is a fine balance, because this industry never sleeps. Money never sleeps, quote. But my children are of the age that they are starting their lives and what they want to do. And my husband and I have recently become empty nesters. And so we're kind of figuring out that life too. So it was all perfect timing, though.
Yeah.
And I felt like the first go round when someone said, "Oh my God, you'd be a great agent," that was not the right time. And I held off. And I felt like I still had so much more to learn at that point, because I thought, I can't do that again. That self-doubt, I'm not ready for that. And then I think it was a year or two went by, and then the opportunity presented itself again. And I thought, okay, this is good. This is perfect timing. So the balance now, it's just evolved over the years. Like my family, they understand work needs to be taken care of. And then family life also needs to be taken care of. There's a balance there. Sometimes they intermingle a lot, but they have respect for that. You know, I feel like my daughters and my husband, that they really have respect for what I do. And the same with myself with them in my husband's business, and our daughters in their journey and their college world. It's a lot of communication. Thank heavens for FaceTime, because we get to see them often through screen.
Good,
but it's just like they're there. But until they get there, then I'm like, oh, FaceTime is terrible. But it's like I said, it's sometimes it's a hard balance. If you had small children, I don't even know how to do that, because I think back when our daughters were little, and just the amount of time that you wanted to be with them, and you wanted to play with them and teach them things and watch these little humans grow and develop and explore. But also, you got to keep them safe. You have to keep them fed. You have to keep them, in a world that you can protect. And then all of a sudden you see them go off to school, and that world kind of opens up a little more. And then, gosh, now with them in college, the world is huge. And you just have to trust where you came from, what you taught them early on in their lives. And I feel like they give a lot of that back to me now. Anytime I ask them for help with my business, they will offer it. I keep thinking maybe one day when they finish college that they would transition into the business again.
Oh, that's
on
right.
The agency
That's right.
side.
There you go.
They don't have that interest yet.
But you know what?
Yet.
We'll wait. We'll wait for
right,
it.
We'll do this recap in 4 years? One's going to finish in 2 years, and one will finish in 4. But they are very supportive. And I don't think that I could do this without the support of my family members, the way that I have it. They're pretty special.
That's awesome. And I think that just all of it is, I think, just such a beautiful story. And it sounds very balanced too. And I think that's important.
I feel like it is. But again, maybe some days I'm not so balanced, and I don't even notice, because there's so much to do. We receive hundreds of emails that you're grinding through, and then you're on phone calls, you're texting. It can be a challenge, but I love it. You really, really have to find what you love. I never knew that this was what I would love so much. And when you find it, wow, it changes. It changes your whole work mindset. It never feels like work.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't say never. Some days, there are days.
More than others, right? Yeah.
But for the most part, I can't wait to do it. I just, I can't wait to see what comes of this. If you get the avail checks, or, you submit someone, you pitch someone, it's like, let's see what comes of this. This is going to be really exciting. And it just, if it fuels you and it feels good, that's where you know you've found your place.
And what's incredible about that is that it happens at different moments in your life. Doesn't matter where you're at, what your age is, none of that matters. Like, there can be massive shifts in your life that create massive change, or even slight shifts, right? My kids are into this acting thing, so let me just look into it. And then boom, it becomes this massive thing that then is fulfilling you in a way that you didn't even realize. And so again, I think it's just it's a circle back of being open in receiving it.
Receiving.
Exactly where we started.
Receiving. Being aware also of what is coming your way in order to receive it.
I love that.
It's pretty remarkable.
Yes.
Because sometimes I feel like we go through this world and you don't pick up on certain things. You don't see things. And then sometimes, you have those clearer moments that you feel a little more open. And that's when the timing is right. Receive.
Yes.
Receive that opportunity.
Incredible. Well, everyone, I hope you're receiving this. And yes. I think this brings us to our spotlight sign off, Carol. I'll hit you with 5 questions, and this will close out our time together. So question number 1 is, tell me something that you are incredibly grateful for today.
So my husband and I just celebrated 22 years
of
marriage.
Heck yeah.
And I'm very grateful for that. I look at it and I think, wow, look at us.
Yes.
We found each other, in our early 30s. And here we are.
Wow. Big congrats. Yeah. Big congrats.
So we just spent a really nice trip up in the mountains and kind of disconnected and just focused on one another. And it's just beautiful.
That's awesome.
22 more years.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Doesn't your husband carve ice sculptures or something? Okay,
not ice sculptures. He's going to flip and go, what? He makes craft ice cubes.
Oh, okay.
So he is an entrepreneur also.
Yeah.
So these very crystal clear ice cubes, and your mainly bourbon drinkers is what you will see, but a lot of other craft cocktails. So that is his work, and it's pretty incredible that people enjoy that.
Yeah.
We're not bourbon drinkers. But,
oh, interesting.
Yeah. But he is in also the restaurant world, and he just saw so often these amazing drinks with these foggy, cloudy ice cubes that maybe they were made from a mold, or maybe they were just, something that someone just put together to put ice in a drink. And he said, I want to create something really special. This deserves more. And so, again, we're both researchers and doers, and he found it's almost like a scientific experiment of how long this ice can stay in his freezers. There's multiple.
Yeah.
And then he pulls them out, and then he hand cuts them. He hand cuts them to size based on the need of which restaurant is purchasing. Chateau Alon is one of his big clients, and so there's a bourbon bar there that, wow, they really keep him busy. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's true entrepreneurship. You see a need, you see a problem, and then you solve it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but not ice sculptures.
Yeah.
My sister commented on something the other day with him and said, "Oh, you really should get into ice sculptures." And I know he's, Oh, would you get your sisters under
Yeah,
control?
your sister called and told me
yeah. It's like, hey, I got a friend of a friend kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, sisters.
No, I think I was at Candy and I were at an event in Atlanta, and there was one of his big ice cubes were there, and
okay, nice.
and we had commented on it, and Brandon Suve was also there, and he was like, Carol Shaginaw's husband does this, and I was like, what? And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna have to make sure to talk to her about it.
Yeah, Brandon's like the honorary salesman.
Is he?
Behind it? I mean, because everywhere he will comment. Or he'll text and say, hey, I found somebody who really needs your ice. Look at this ice. This ice is terrible. It's cloudy. I'm like, okay, I'll tell him, Brandon, thanks. But it's so appreciated because when you see it and then you see the difference, you're like, oh my gosh.
Right.
Wow. And it just elevates. It's that elevated service. It's like, sheets. You can get sheets for a bed, but when you get some luxury sheets,
gotta have luxury sheets.
It's like a total difference. And so that's what I hear from the bourbon drinkers, that it's an experience, and people love it. People love it, and he loves doing it. It is his love for the craft of it.
Mm.
And I get that. I understand that. I've got my love of what I'm doing, and he's got his love of what he's doing, and it just works. It just works. But it's that passion. It's finding something that truly makes you happy and that you love doing that will, I think, keep your peace.
Yeah.
Keep your personal peace.
So true. Well, next question is...
we talked about his eyes.
Yeah. I'm glad we got that in there.
Okay.
Next
I should have brought you some.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Next time.
All right. Next question is, what is a television show, movie, book, or event that truly, completely changed your life?
Wow. Well, we've talked about the event, giving birth to 2 children who were very creative and very much performing artists. That was life-changing. That was event-changing. And, I mean, they are the reason I am doing what I am doing. But I'll tell you a book. So when I started out in this industry, trying to figure it out, I came across a book, Self-Management for Actors by Bonnie Gillespie. And I read that book because situations would come up and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? How do I handle this? And then I would refer back to it just in the moment to try to help me navigate the business side of this industry. Because I wasn't the performer. I'm not the performer. Like, this is probably the most performing I've ever done, if you can call it performing. But it really helped me with the business side of the industry. And I feel like, and I just, it was just something that really was powerful at the time when I needed it. I would love to spend more time reading, but there's just not enough.
You're like, I'm reading enough emails.
Hours in the day, right? But what I do love is the moments when you can just spend time reading or reflecting. I wished I had more time to just sit and read, but I love doing other things too. So
yeah, it's I think we make priorities for the things we truly want to do, and sometimes we do need to take a step back and say, you know what, I really do want to do this, but I haven't been, so I need to reprioritize. Yeah, I always tell actors that say I don't have time. I'm like, do you remember when the pandemic happened? Yeah. Said we all went home and we had to stay there, and we all had more time than we ever had in our entire life. Right. But then like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, nothing had changed. We're all still stuck at home. Right. We were all very busy again because you just filled your time up. Right. And so that's what happens. You will always be busy. Doesn't matter. a complete pandemic could be going on where you are supposed to stay at home.
Right.
And you'll still be crazy busy because you fill your time. So it's all about how you prioritize it.
It is. It is. So that's a goal, I think, for myself for this next vacation season, maybe over the summer.
Okay, good.
To dive into a book.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
But just, of books that were very powerful to me. That was one.
Awesome.
That was pretty life-changing.
Yeah, especially at the time. Like, it was like exactly what you needed.
Right. I'm thinking, what are these kids doing? I wasn't expecting all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So let me figure out how to navigate this business side of the industry. And I feel like a lot of times for adult actors, they don't have the mother who is handling the business side. And so they have to figure out the business side too.
Yes.
Their performance side. And it's important to read and watch podcasts such as this. I guess you call it a video cast.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, it's video, or if you're on Apple, Spotify, whatever, then it's just listening. Yeah.
But absorbing that information. So if you don't have time to read, you can listen in your car.
Yeah.
You can listen on your way to your in-person auditions, on your way to your acting classes, but just gaining that knowledge, learning that business side of the industry.
The business side is so important. And I mean, and we have our mentorship program where actors get to work one-on-one with a working actor. And, we have 4 pillars that really, I think, construct and hold up that program. And one of them is business, understanding that like this is a business,
it is.
And understanding that. And so I can't agree more. And the business is like, in communication within your materials, those types of things. So important. Yeah.
So important. Yeah. And I love that you all offer that because it creates that well-rounded, knowledgeable actor that makes my job easier. That is how I try to put things together. I do try to like think of it in the agent's point of view. Yeah. How can I like serve really, like I'm serving the actor, right? But then also like in doing that, how can I also serve the agent? Yeah. And then in which case then we're serving casting, it's that domino effect. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Third question is within your daily routine, which it sounds like it's probably changed a little bit now that you guys are dealing with the empty nest syndrome. Yeah. What's something in your daily routine that you really like?
That's funny you call it a syndrome. I hadn't thought about that. So my favorite part of my daily routine is something that we call in our household the MCTT.
Okay.
It's morning coffee tea time. It used to just be MCT, but then I switched over to chai. So I said, we got to throw another tea in there. So it's MCTT. But that's our, first thing in the morning, quiet time. Just really focusing on one another, spending that time together. If our girls are home, they know it's MCTT time. Or MCTT.
Yeah.
Time to get together. But it is. It's that fresh morning, spending the time, focused, engaging with one another, and then everybody off. You go do your thing. Everybody's off and running, handling their business and doing whatever it is. And then at nighttime, we haven't created a name for it, but it's that last moment of the night too, just regrouping and sharing and spending that quality time together.
HCT, hot chocolate time.
We could call it that maybe if I.
It doesn't look like you like it.
Yeah.
No, you don't like it? Okay.
I like hot chocolate.
But not that much. All right, no worries.
Maybe just a nighttime. I don't know.
Yeah, all right, sure.
We'll come up with something good.
All right, you let me know.
But yeah, I feel like you got to have that. You got to have that balance of spending that time together, focusing on one another, and then we all run throughout our day, and then we kind of regroup. And usually we'll get a FaceTime from one or two of our daughters just to say, hey, I knew I could catch y'all. Just a little chit-chat to say, I love you, I'm thinking about you. And it's a great way to close out the day.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I used to. It's not so much anymore, but when I had like roommates back in the day, my roommate and I used to have coffee and like sit outside on the porch, and we were in Dunwoody at the time, and we actually had a lot of land, and so sometimes there would be like deer or like bunnies running around, hopping around, and yeah, we had like 2 rocking chairs out there, like old people like or something, yeah. And we would just sit out there and have our coffee and chat, and sometimes look at the animals.
Right, and it's so peaceful. And my husband, he is really into bird feeders now.
Oh, okay.
And so we have all of these crazy birds that will come, and he's constantly filling the bird feeder, and I feel like we have the fattest birds in the neighborhood because they all know where to come. We even have a neighbor's cat that kind of creeps by.
The cat might get lucky one of these days.
It's almost like that Tweety bird and
that's so great.
Sylvester. But it's nice. It's so peaceful
for sure
to sit and just be.
Yeah.
And even if you're not really talking about anything, if there's not anything, what's going on for your day today, that kind of thing. If it's just a moment just sitting there, spending that quality time together,
yes,
I feel is so important. And that is my fuel. That is my energy for the day, where I'm like, okay, everybody, let's go do our thing. And then we kind of regroup at night.
Great.
Yeah.
What is something that you're currently trying to improve in your life right now?
Good one. Exercising more.
Okay.
So I used to be pretty active, very active. And moving over to the agency side, I have found myself not so active, computer desk locked. And so we were just talking about this the other day. I am going to get a walking pad and a walking desk.
Yes.
To make sure that happens.
You've said it live.
There we go.
You've said it live.
I'll send you a little video. When
All
I'm
right,
doing
good. Do it. I'm like, now you got people that are going to hold you accountable. Carrie,
right?
did you get that walking desk yet?
Yeah. Because some nights I will go out and walk, and I'm talking to clients, and I'm like, okay, hang on. I'm walking up a hill. I may start to sound a little funny here, but I do. I feel like that's so important. And I've just seen the change in myself over the years of not being as active, and you got to put that first.
The walking desk. I've been thinking about the walking desk too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to do it.
Yeah, we'll exchange some. Which ones are?
Yeah, a buddy of mine,
others.
his wife has one, and it's like a kind of like a smaller one, where because you can Google them, they're like thousands of dollars, right?
Yeah.
But this was like if you get this Amazon thing and this Amazon thing, it's only like $500.
Very reasonable.
And I'm like, okay, all right, let's do it.
And while you're sitting there going through emails, just moving your body,
yes,
just keeping the movement going, because when you stand up from sitting for hours and you can just get really stiff, and it's just from sitting. But someone did say to me the other day that sitting is the new cigarette of this generation. Like back when our parents were younger and everybody was smoking, and that kind of changed people's health.
Man, sitting is the new cigarette.
Is the new cigarette is what a retired nurse said to me.
Man, I like that. Wow. I mean, I don't know if I like.
Well, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm out of here because I don't smoke. I've never smoked. And
but you're like, but I do sit.
But I am going to get moving. Not anymore. So
people that are in the car right now, they're like, I'm sitting right now.
Oh my God, people can start running down the sidewalks.
Wow.
So
okay.
that's the goal.
All right, good.
Hold
get it
me
done.
Accountable.
Get it done.
I'll get it done and send you some video and clips to
if
share.
If you are a talent of Carol Shaginaw Agency, you need to email her right now.
That's right.
Did you get your treadmill desk?
That's right. That's right. And when they talk to me, they can say, are you on your treadmill?
Yes.
And I will say, yes. Get on it if I'm not on it.
I love it. Getting 10,000 steps is going to be so easy.
Yeah, right?
All right. So last question then. Based on your life so far and our listeners, what is one piece of advice you really want them to get? Go for it. If you really want something
or you want to make something work, and it's worth working for, do it. Do not hold back, regardless of the situation. If it's really something that is important and meaningful to you, even outside of acting for our actors, but anything in life, if it means something to you, make it happen or keep it and hold on to it, whatever the situation may be. Don't hold back. Just go for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful place to end. Thank you so much, Carol, for being here. It was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. And I'm so proud of you that you went for this.
Yes.
Your podcast. Very, very powerful. And I think you are just sharing so much goodness in our community here and, you know, around the world, whoever's listening.
Yes.
Like, it's not limited anymore. So you should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you very much. That means a lot. I appreciate it. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you, challenge you to pass it on to a friend, pass it on to somebody else that you think would be really served in hearing it. And if you liked this episode, I bet you would also like the episode with Jason Lockhart and really truly understanding the Southeast actor market. We go over talking about agents and managers and all sorts of different things. So go check out that episode next. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Comment, review, subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.